Hello, my name is Andrew Gardine, and today we're going to take a look at the EasyStand Evolv, including making the proper adjustments and fitting it either for one client or for many clients. It's important to know these adjustments well so that our clients get the maximum benefit out of either sitting or standing in the EasyStand. Setting seat depth is important both for transferring in and out of the unit and as you transition from sitting to standing. In order to make the seat depth as easy as possible, let's do a couple things to prep this adjustment. First, what I want to do is take and move my shadow tray adjustment as far back towards the back as possible. To do that, I loosen the knob, slide the table back, and then I can set it back down. Now, what I want to do to make the seat depth a little easier is to elevate the EasyStand into a slight angle. I'm working with the power lift option here today. If I was using the hydraulic, I'd just give it a couple of pumps until I have an angle just about like this. Next, I come to the seat tube adjustment underneath the middle of the EasyStand and loosen the knob. Once the knob is loosened, I push the button in the following arm and pull the seat depth adjustment back. You'll notice that as I adjust the seat adjustment back, the angle of the table also changes. To correct that, I turn the knob at the back of the EasyStand, and that levels the table out again. Once it's level, I can make another inch adjustment by pushing the button and continuing to lower it back. So far, I've adjusted it 2 inches back. Once we have the seat depth set, let's just drop the EasyStand back down into a flat seated position, and this also allows us to check our back angle and make sure that we've made the adjustment properly. Now let's review taking the EasyStand from a deep seat depth back into a short seat depth. Once again, I'll lift the unit up. I'll loosen the knob and then slide forward, adjusting the back angle after each adjustment to the seat tube. And let's go 1 more inch. Slide that down and then adjust our angle. We can check it again by moving the table to parallel or flat, or there's also an indicator on the side, and you just want the pointer to be within the green. Then, when we have the setting that we're looking for, let's just tighten up the knob underneath, and that'll just take any play out of it as I tighten it up. And then I can bring it down and just check that my seat to back angle and my seat depth is set to the distance that I want it to be. Now let's take a look at what proper fitting looks like in the EasyStand Evolv. I'm going to fit myself in this Evolv. When fitting a client in the Evolv, we want to make sure that the femur is laying all the way on the seat. We do this by adjusting the footplates up and down. If your footplates are too high, your knee position will also be high. Make sure you drop your footplates to a height where your femur is resting all the way on the seat. In this case, I could lower the footplates another inch because I still have space underneath my leg. In addition, we want to make sure that we're back far enough so that our knees are not too far forward in the unit. I have too much space right now between the back of my leg and the seat. I want to shrink that down to maybe 1 finger's width. I already set my seat depth, so my seat depth is correct, but I want to get my knees back. So now I bring my knees down, I put them in proper position, making sure that they're not too far forward. These are the independent knee pads, which allow independent depth adjustment. The standard knee pads adjust at the same time. In addition to these independent knee pads, also have height adjustment. So I can adjust in height, and I can also adjust in adduction or abduction. Now let's just drop my foot plates 1 more inch and look at other footrest adjustments. The footrests can be adjusted by loosening the clamp on the side of the EasyStand base. When I loosen this clamp, I can adjust the footplate up and down. By loosening it further, I can adjust planar flexion or dorsiflexion. So I want it about this height. There are markings on the side of the EasyStand to indicate height if you're working in a multi-user facility. And what I want to do is make sure both sides are set evenly. In the case of a leg length discrepancy, we can set the height of the footplates at different heights. One final adjustment in the footplates is the ability to set it in a toe-out position. There's numerous holes, so you can adjust in 4 different settings. Now let's get back in the EasyStand and see how we look. I've dropped my foot plates down, so now my leg is firmly resting in the foot plates. I set my knee pads previously, so they're in position. Now I can bring my shadow tray adjustment down. Push it back into place. Now I can slide the tray back into position and tighten the knob. Make sure you get it nice and tight, and that'll prevent me from going forward. Now with proper positioning in the EasyStand Evolv, the 2 pivot points on my legs, my knee and my hip, are lined up correctly with the 2 pivot points on the EasyStand Evolv. This is the hip pivot point. My hip is quite close to the hip pivot point. The knee pivot point, my knee is quite close to the knee pivot point, not too far in front of and not too far above. When I go from sitting to standing, this is going to mean that I've really effectively reduced the amount of shear between my seat and the seat on the Evolv and the torso and the back support and chest support in the EasyStand Evolv. And it just makes for an overall better experience and better positioning if you get your adjustments right. Just remember, in review, the key part of fitting the EasyStand Evolv properly is to get your knee pivot point lined up properly with the knee pivot point on the unit, making sure your knee pads are set far enough back and that your foot plates are far enough down. And then lining up your hip pivot point as close as possible to the hip pivot point on the unit. This is done by adjusting your seat depth, as we reviewed. If you get these 2 things right, your experience in the EasyStand Evolv will be very good.